Hi everyone, it's Danielle with Northlawn Flower Farm. Today I'm planting out a very early spring planting of hardy annuals, and I thought I'd take you along with me. I've seen some questions about what am I growing and sowing right now? Is anything going out into the garden? So I thought I would show you what's going out today. Today is March 16th. I've really only been growing hardy annuals at this point, and now I'm ready for all these guys to go out, and then I'm going to start on my tender annuals under lights this next week. So if you've never heard of this concept before of hardy annuals or cool flowers, I would really recommend, and I've recommended this book before, but it's the book Cool Flowers by Lisa Mason Ziegler. It is just packed full of perfect, accurate information that works. I've been doing this is my 4th year growing cool flowers. I had never heard of this concept before I read Lisa's book. It works, and not only that, but if you sell flowers like I do, this is going to open up a whole new area of revenue for you. Revenue where you might have just been having, tulips and peonies. Now I have tons and tons of cool flowers that I can sell in spring and very early summer. So when we're talking cool flowers, and this is really just a nutshell, guys, I really would recommend getting the book because it's packed full of way more information than I can go into. But basically, you need to know 3 pieces of information. So first, you need to know what is your winter hardiness zone, because that determines when you can plant a flower, whether you should plant it in the fall or whether you should plant it in the very early spring. So I'm here in zone 6B. So any flower that's winter hardy to a zone 6 or colder, I'm going to fall plant it. I'm going to plant it 6 to 8 weeks before my first frost. If my first frost is about mid-November, I'm going to be seeding those things at the beginning of October. So I'm going to seed them in October. They're going to germinate. The soil's still going to be warm enough for them to germinate, but then it's going to get cool. They're going to put all their attention into growing a nice, robust root system. You're going to get a nice, small plant, but then you want that plant to stop growing. That's part of it too. You don't want them to get so big, and then you don't really want them to go into the winter season being these huge plants. You want that baby plant and all the focus to be going into the root system. So that's one way. But if a flower is not winter hardy to your zone, so for me specifically, take straw flower. Straw flower is only hardy to a zone 8, but it's still a hardy annual. I don't want to plant that in the fall. It wouldn't survive. Instead, I want to plant it now in very early spring, 6 to 8 weeks before my last frost. So if my last frost, and I'm just talking from just me, my zone here, if my last frost is April 21st, I want all these guys, my early spring planting, to go in the ground mid-March. I need to be starting things around Valentine's Day, unless it's a flower that really just takes a long time, like snapdragons that you'll see there, Lisianthus, foxglove, delphinium. They just take a long time. I'm going to be starting them even earlier, probably about late January. But I got to catch my breath after all that information, and also it's freezing cold out here. Anyway, that's the story in a nutshell. But I'm hoping that by taking you through another growing season of this, you can see that it really does work. I can completely understand how this is maybe a scary concept if you've never done it before. I was scared too. I'm still a little scared sometimes as I see all my baby plants sit there with piles of snow and ice on them. I'm sticking these guys out. It's going to be freezing temperatures tonight. There's still nights 25, 26. There's still snow in the forecast. But I have to remind myself that I have seen this work year after year, and just remind myself this is when these plants want to be planted. So I think I need to put a warmer coat on. I'm going to grab my other camera, and then I'll show you what all's going in the ground today, and we'll go ahead and get some of this planted. I'm also going to be planting out some ranunculus today, and I'll try to go down into the basement and show you those guys as well. So let's get started. So before we go back outside, I'll show you my ranunculus that I've been pre-sprouting. I have one tray down here in the basement and one tray upstairs in the upstairs bathroom, just to see if there's any difference, because I've lost a lot of ranunculus over the years to too high of humidity down in this basement. So I'm always messing around with some other places, but I have a whole video that should be coming out really soon on ranunculus, but I just haven't had time to edit it yet. But here's what they look like when they should be going outside. You really just want them to have a nice robust root system. So let's take some out and see. But they're getting planted out today for sure. So this is what I'm looking for. I guess I pre-soaked these, I think it was probably about 14 days ago. And they've just been sitting down here in the dark in lightly moistened potting soil. As I say, I'll have a much more detailed video coming out on these very soon. But these need to go outside today as well. This is the right time. I don't want them sitting down here getting leggy or anything. So now let's get bundled up and go back outside. All right, I got my warmer coat on, so hopefully we're good to go now. But let me show you what I've been growing here before we start planting. This is delphinium called Magic Fountains. That's basically the only delphinium I ever grow. I kind of get a variety I like and just kind of stick with it. You know, if it's not broke, why fix it kind of a mentality. This foxglove is Foxy Foxglove. Once again, it's the only foxglove I grow. It's kind of a purple, pink, white mix. And it's not a biennial, it's an annual. It blooms the first year. Let's see, here we have some scabiosa. I think this is called like grandma's pincushion flower. I think I sent this to somebody that sometimes watches the channel, the other half of the packet. This is Costa apricot snap from Floret, and you see that I did not pinch these snaps. So I generally would pinch my snaps, but I need snaps as early as possible for something that I've committed to this year, so I'm not pinching them. I'll pinch the other flat that I have inside. And maybe I should show you the other things I have inside as well. This is orlaya. Orlaya is hardy to a zone 6, but to be honest, I forgot to plant it. So here we are. These guys are called starflower. They are a variety of scabiosa. I think the Latin might be like scabiosa stellata or stellata. I'm not sure on the pronunciation there, but I'm growing these for the seed pods. This whole flat you might recognize from another video when I just did some seed starting. This is yarrow, Colorado mix, a nice kind of pastel colorful mix. And then the last thing, which probably won't go out today just because I don't have the supports up yet, is my sweet peas. But this is a blue celeste. That's my favorite kind, and that's what I'm growing this year. So now let me show you some hardy annuals that have been in the ground since October. So here's where I have my love and a mist. I sowed these back in October. They overwintered fine. If you take a look at the winter garden tour that I did, you can see that we do get really extreme temperatures here, but they're fine. I haven't thinned them yet. I won't do that for a while. Here's Grace. Let's look at some Dara. Dara is one I'm experimenting with this year. I think the book says that Dara is hardy down to a 7, but it reseeded itself here and it's fine. So I didn't bother to plant it again under lights, right? I mean, there's a little bit of loss, but still, you know, worth a try. That's how I feel about this whole hardy annual thing. Especially when you're first getting started and you're not totally sure what will work. Give it a try. What have you got to lose, right? Let's go into the borders and see some larkspur and some feverfew. I wanted to stop here because you can see this was foxglove from last year. See how it's absolutely fine still? I mean, it looks a little bit sad, but honestly, these are going to perform like gangbusters come probably late May, I would say. And you can see all my daffodils are starting to come up. Isn't that exciting? All right, let's go see some feverfew. So here's some feverfew, fall sown. Now, to me, actually, this looks good, but I'm trying to remember what it was like my first year doing this and remember thinking, oh no, it looks, you know, like it's in such shock and such peril, but it's all good. This is gonna be great. This looks good. So here's an area with some larkspur. Don't mind the weeds, guys. This is a real life garden, but I just wanted you to see that these guys made it through winter fine. And you know, I'll have to move things around, but they're all fine. These were all fall planted. I literally just raked this area, threw the seed down, covered it back over, and it all germinated just fine. Let's see if I have some more in the driveway garden I can show you. So before we really dive into this garden, I guess I haven't shown you what I've been doing over here. I've been trying to give myself some more area to plant in. So I'm almost done removing this sod, just bringing in some compost now. But here's some sweet William that was fall sown. Okay, totally fine. Let's see what else I can show you. Oh, more larkspur over here. This is reseeded larkspur. But once again, totally fine. Zone 6B. Made it all the way through winter. I hope it was helpful to see that these things do make it through the winter okay. Let me show you real quick where the ranunculus is gonna go, and then we'll just get some more clothes on because I'm still cold, and we'll get to work. So just this area here is where the ranunculus is gonna go. I'm gonna put down a thin layer of compost, and then I'm gonna cover it back up. But the ranunculus is the only thing that I bother to cover. Everything out is going out, and it's gonna get full exposure to the elements. All right, let's get to work. Well guys, I need to unexpectedly wrap up this video because it started to rain, but I hope it was helpful to at least see what I have going on this time of year here in 6B. It's really all about the hardy annuals, the ranunculus, the anemones. The daffodils are starting to come up. I'm just starting to see most of my tulips, although a lot of my double tulips are not up yet. But basically the whole remainder of this week, I'll just be planting all my hardy annuals. I'll be seeding poppies, breadseed poppies and Shirley poppies. Icelandic poppies are a whole nother story, and I'm hoping to cover that in a video as well coming up soon. But once I have all my hardy annuals in the ground, that's when I'll start on planting my tender annuals inside and getting them under lights, at least things that need about 6 weeks. I'll still hold off on things like sunflowers, zinnias, cosmos, things that are just really fast. I don't usually start those until the very first week of April, just because I would rather have a younger transplant of those things than an older transplant. At least that's what seems to work best for me. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. Like I say, I'm sorry we had to cut this video short, but I think it's actually a blessing in disguise because today's my daughter's birthday and I have a lot to get done before she gets home from school. So I want to wish you a great day out in the garden, and until next time, happy gardening. Bye.